and I heard 3 gunshots. Pop, pop, pop. And I was like, oh my God.
New information on the UNLV shooter who was reportedly a former professor.
What to do with Deanza Cove? It's been a question for years, but today we could be one step closer to an answer.
I think that was just something we decided we couldn't pass up.
Juan Soto is going to the Yankees. How Padres fans are reacting this morning.
Hanukkah begins tonight, and we're enjoying
latkes and love.
Plus, we are live at Legoland with a look at all the holiday fun. It's 6 a.m. on Thursday, December 7th, and you're up with CBS 8.
Really appreciate you being here at 6 a.m. to join us, everyone. I'm Eric Connert.
And I'm Nada Rampur. Yeah, glad you're with us. So we are seeing a little patchy fog in some spots. Yeah. We do want to check in with meteorologist Evan Narani, checking out that forecast. I mean, it's kind of cool to see. Like some areas have, some don't at all.
It's very patchy. Also, for the record, we don't really get to see that bold open before the show. Yeah. So sometimes I watch it, I'm like, wow, this is going to be such a great show. Today is one of those days where we're like, wow, this is going to be a great show. We start off the morning with dense fog. Take a look outside. You don't really see those lights twinkling quite as much because we've got that blanket layer of haze to work with. And that haze is mainly affecting our coastline around the San Diego area, all the way down through Imperial Beach. You see how Imperial Beach is at 2.5 miles of visibility. A lot of spots are starting to see that fog lift, but we're going to continue to hang out with cloud cover for the AM stretch. PM hours present a much better opportunity for more sunshine, or at least scattered cloud cover. Temperatures are cooler today, widespread 60s as opposed to the 70s and 80s we saw earlier this week. So expected to be a cooler, cloudier day. Coming up, we'll talk about whether or not these cool, cloudy conditions will last through the upcoming weekend. Back to you.
Just got some new information into our newsroom on the gunman who killed 3 people at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. According to CBS affiliate KLAS, he was 67-year-old Anthony Polito, a professor who tried unsuccessfully to get a job at UNLV. He previously taught in Georgia and North Carolina.
Police say he died in a shootout with 2 university detectives. People reported an active shooter on campus just before noon yesterday. We're hearing from a student who helped barricade his classroom.
I did call my mom, call my grandma, call my friends, called every single person and started texting people, and they all texted me back, I love you. Don't forget to do that. Always tell people you love them because you never know when the last day is.
Oh, the emotions these students were going through. All your classes on UNLV's campus are canceled now through Sunday.
Today, the woman accused in a fatal hit and run in North Park will make her first court appearance. 76-year-old Donna Jacobs is accused of hitting 42-year-old Stephen DeBow on November 21st. DeBow died 6 days later. Right now, a growing memorial is at the scene of the crash at the intersection of Utah Street and Polk Avenue and includes photos of DeBow with his beloved dog.
In 3 hours from now, the city's planning commission will discuss the future of this spot, Deanza Cove.
That's right. A controversial proposal would turn much of the cove into wetlands, but others are against this idea. CBS 8's Chris Groh live in Mission Bay now with more details on this proposal. And this has been a subject of debate for many years, Chris.
Yeah, it really has. Ever since we saw the mobile home park that is just over here in Deanza Cove go away, since it was demolished even just recently, we've been waiting to see exactly what the final plan will be for Deanza Cove. And we may soon be closer to that, but that's not without a lot of input from a lot of different interested parties with sort of polar opposite views on what it is that they think should happen here. So let's start with what this is going to be. The fear was, of course, that because of the amount of marshland that is being planned for, that some recreational activities like the golf course or the tennis courts that are nearby, that those would go away and be replaced by marshlands. However, there was a compromise just recently reached. That was in June. So what they're going to do is that out of the 505 acres that are being redeveloped in this plan, there's going to be 66 that will be dedicated to active recreational activities such as the golf course, tennis courts, and softball fields. Now, the thing is that number initially was just 60, so that went up 10% in this latest compromise, but that may not be enough for them to be turned into marshland, but it's not necessarily enough to guarantee that they will be here long term. Of course, the majority of the acreage is going to be dedicated to marshlands and the campsites. The meeting will be taking place at 9 a.m. and there is still time for those of you who feel one way or the other to have your voices heard, including at this planning commission. And even if the planning commission does move this forward, it still has to go to the full city council, which likely won't take place until next year. And then, of course, the coastal commission would still have to sign off as well, too. Eric and Netta.
All right, Chris, thank you for explaining it to us. Water rates are going up for 200,000 people who live in National City, Bonita, parts of Chula Vista. So if you live there, listen to this. The Sweetwater Authority just approved a series of rate increases totaling 13% over the next 3 years. Residents spoke out ahead of that vote.
I'm not here to ask you, I'm here to demand that you do not allow this. You do not allow this.
They called in to try to make their voices heard. Well, rates will initially increase 0.5% January 1st, then another 6% the following year, and another 6.5% by 2026. Officials say the rates remain among the lowest in the county. Water rates are also going up for people who live in Oceanside. City Council held a second vote on this last night. Bills will increase 6% at the start of this new year. They'll go up another 6% by 2025. Wastewater rates also going up by 4% next year and 2.5% in 2025.
All right, this morning, Juan Soto is no longer a San Diego Padre. The team announced they have traded their all-world slugger to the New York Yankees for 4 pitchers. Soto came to San Diego a season and a half ago and helped get the Padres to the NLCS that year. This past season, Soto played well, played in all 162 games, led the Padres with 35 home runs, 109 RBI, very good at bats with 132 walks, very disciplined. The deal also includes San Diego center fielder Trent Grisham, so he's going away too. Now coming to San Diego will be pitchers Michael King, Drew Thorpe, Randy Vasquez, Johnny Brito, and Yankees catcher Kyle Higashioka. That's what seems to be even more important to the Friars. Moving Soto clears up $30+ million, so that was all part of this deal. So here is the man who made the move.
You know, for us to get, 2 pennant races with Juan Soto, get to the LCS, watch the season he had last year. He was a tremendous player last year, him playing 162 games. But now also, from our standpoint, be able to move Juan to, get players that hopefully, impact us for the next 5 or 6 years. At the end of the day, you can look at it a lot of different ways. We think, ultimately 2 years of an elite player like Juan, doing some nice things as a team, and then obviously being able to have a move that hopefully impacts us throughout the rest of the decade. I think that was just something we decided we couldn't pass up.
Many fans upset about the trade. This person posted a meme saying a smile might be good, and a reply saying nothing to smile about in my life. Another meme saying I am dead inside.
Oh.
So I asked you on X, what do you think about this? I kept it simple on my responses. It's just simple yes or no on this trade. Yes. They like this trade, 52%, no, 48%. And
Very
the
close.
yeses most likely are people that realize we need pitching, and that may have prevented us from getting deeper in the, into the postseason.
Yeah. But
I mean,
Soto and Grisham,
I know.
such fan favorites.
That's why this poll's so close.
Yeah.
Tough to say goodbye to those guys. A lot of jerseys, a lot of Soto jerseys.
A lot of
around
Soto
town.
jerseys that are going to become
$100
pretty unique
each.
now. Yeah, exactly,
Those are not
right?
cheap.
I mean,
Yeah.
ideally they would become, I don't know, what
Historic
would you...
artifacts?
Exactly, right? Mhm.
They needed a magnetic nameplate on the back. You can just put someone else's
Exactly.
name
You
right
can
on the
just
back.
change it. I mean, just bring it to the Padres store, switch it out for someone who's still on the team now. But yes, that news came in yesterday, and people were going a little nuts over it.
They
so,
were.
What also came in yesterday, that fog, and it's still creeping around
was
in
so
North
cool.
County. I noticed it's just like kind of mysterious.
It's patchy. It's starting to lift right now, but it's still leading us to a mostly cloudy start to the morning. Forecast for the day shows that by the time we get to the afternoon, we'll see those clouds scatter a bit. So for now, that dense layer of fog that drifted in overnight is starting to lift up. We're seeing improvements in visibility, but those clouds are still hanging with us, right? They're not exactly leaving us completely. So expect an overcast start to the morning, very gray out there, temperatures in the 40s and 50s. By the afternoon, we're only expected to make it into the 60s. Here's what it's like outside right now. 51 in Escondido, 43 in Ramona, 49 in Jamul to start off the day. Along your coastline, we're mostly in the about mid-50s, 55 in Oceanside, 56 in Carlsbad right now. We still have a beach hazard statement along our waters. If you're getting in, remember 4 to 6 foot waves, sets of 7-foot waves possible. Wind advisory is also in effect as of 10 a.m. today, and that'll last through 4 a.m. tomorrow with those gusty west winds primarily over the mountains and then, of course, the deserts. Deserts are where we're most focused in on those 40 to 50 mile per hour gusts in the foreseeable future. And then those winds shift offshore Offshore winds will help to warm our temperatures up for the days to come, especially for that Saturday to Sunday stretch. You see how today is the standout cooler day of the week, coolest, and then we'll see those temperatures climb, including overnight low temperatures. That'll be pretty mild into Saturday, but then from Sunday into Monday, we're back down to the 40s overnight, 70s for those afternoons moving forward, especially through the weekend and early next week. So it really is today and tomorrow in particular that we're holding on to those cooler, cloudier conditions before we start a gradual warm up through the weekend. Next week kind of balances us out right around that average marker. Let's take a look at how traffic is shaping up this morning. It is 6:10 on the clock right now, and so far your roads are actually looking pretty smooth to start off the day. You can see how we are starting to see just a bit more volume on the westbound lanes of the 8, and most of our westbound freeways are starting to see a bit more volume this morning around this time. But we're not seeing really any major backups in most spots. We do have on the 805 volume picking up just a bit on the in the Normal Heights area. You see how at one point we were down to 15 miles per hour. That was a bit of stop and go. Now we're actually starting to see a lot of improvements there. Let's take a look at border wait times. It's 6:11 right now, 110-minute wait at the San Ysidro Port of Entry. Otay Mesa Port of Entry going to take you about 90 minutes, so an hour and 30 or so to get across that border. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Evan. And still ahead here, how San Diego is remembering the attack on Pearl Harbor today.
Plus dangerous weather in the Pacific Northwest, and it's not over yet.
It adds up to the fact that you are corrupt.
The most obnoxious blowhard in America. So shut up for a while.
Highlights from the 4th GOP presidential debate.